Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Dripping Pan for a literal six-pointer between two sides that have found themselves fighting to avoid the drop. The visitors this afternoon are currently 3 points ahead of Lewes, and we'll be hoping they can extend that gap to avoid the fate of a second relegation following last season's departure of the Women's Super League. This feels like a must-win for Lewes, who will be avid to store away last weekend's result that ended in disappointment and 2 big points dropped. Although it wasn't all grey skies for the Rooks, as their new signings showed signs of real unity, considering it was 4 of their first games in the colour of Lewes. So here are the sides that will battle it out over the next 2 hours in this Women's Championship affair. 2 p.m. kickoff on this Sunday afternoon. Starting with the home side, Lewes. It's 2 changes since that 1-1 draw against Durham last weekend. In goal is the ever-present Sophie Whitehouse, with Grace Riglar and Grace Garrett in defence. Amelia Hazard, Holly Olding and Lois Roche in midfield, it looks like, with Hannah Godfrey and Cara Hamilton in the back line with Riglar and Garrett. With an attacking lineup back in the side, Amy Claypole, who makes her first ever start following her signing from Chelsea back in the transfer window. She came on for the last 20 minutes or so against Durham. Looked lively, and now she has a chance to start and make a difference for the Rooks. With Jack in attack with Claypole too. Substitutes for the home Seymour. Brianne finds herself on the bench. Grace Palmer, Anna Rihanna Blades, Eve Clarkson and Sarah Brazero Carrera. It's 4 changes since Reading's 6-0 loss against Arsenal in the FA Cup in the week. Making her first ever league appearance is 17-year-old Eve Annett. Number 7, Charlie Wellings. Coming into the side is central midfielder Tia Primer with attacker Madison Perry. Number 11, Lauren Wade, Brooke Hendricks, Esther May Kith, Charlie Escort and captain Lily Woodham keep their spots after the game in the week. With new signings coming in and making their first appearances for Reading. Jessie Stapleton, who confirmed her signing for the Royals yesterday after signing from loan from West Ham. Number 27, Jessie Woolley, is in the side as well, signed 2 weeks ago. And this is her first appearance for Reading after she penned a deal with the Royals from Bristol City. Substitutions, an injured Emily Ormond, which keeps herself on the bench. Rachel Dudgale, Hallie Hussein, Caitlin Smith, Georgia Wilson, Amelia Elwood, and back at the pan after 2 seasons as a Rook is Josie Longhurst with Bethan Roberts and May Hunt. So Reading, coached by Liam Gilbert, ready to take on the Rooks in what is a big game, although Lewes will want to see it as just any other normal 90 minutes of football. But you know there is something riding on it, with the news that won't please either side of Watford winning up at Durham in the midday kickoff. Last time I checked, it was 2-0 to Watford. And we're in the dying embers of that game there, so their fate is sealed up north against Durham, which now means Lewes are bottom of the league. Reading, of course, still just above the relegation zone. And we'll be looking to keep it that way and widen that gap on the Rooks and make it 6 points rather than 3. And they will be the ones to get us off underway in this big fixture between Lewes and Reading. So kicking us off, playing from right to left, are the Royals in their away shirt and away strip. Looks like it's a front 2 of Riglar and Amy Claypole at the time being. Of course, Riglar, since the turn of the new year, has been playing in a more attacking position, and it worked out well last weekend after she got her second goal in red and black. managing to get on the end of Lewes Hukin's ball, who currently finds herself out of the team this weekend after a positive debut down that left-hand side. Roche getting a touch to try and take it down this right. Lois Roche in midfield, making her second appearance for the Rooks. Of course, played for Reading in the 4 years between 2012 and 2016. 67 appearances for Reading and 14 goals in her time. She had an impressive debut last week for the Rooks and will be looking to back that up this afternoon as well. So played down this near right side. Riglar's up there. Improvisation shown from the Reading defender. Here is Hand, who came off after 60 minutes. Rooks fans looking forward to seeing how she will fare in black and red. An astute signing from Lewes, a player of 24, plenty of experience on an international stage as well. And they've got an opportunity here through Jackie Hand. Fizzing a ball across the box, it was Eve Annitz who came down low. The 17-year-old making her first start in the league for Reading as they just pass it along the back. Here is the 17 as they just loft it out to that right-hand side where Esther May Kith currently lies. But Lewes win the ball back. And here's Riglar. Does she try to go from distance? She does. It falls straight back to her following that block from the Reading back line. Lewes just eager to pass it around the back, and then Godfrey sets off a ball into the box, aiming for Riglar. It's headed away. And Reading will try and bring the ball forward through their captain, Lily Woodburn. A good ball in field that manages to find the run of Charlie Wellings as she tries playing it out to this left-hand side. Hazard gets a touch onto it. This time she favours to hoof it down that right-hand side. Ball played out to this left, finding Lauren Wade, but she was just unable to keep it under her spell. Here come Lewes trying to hit one on the break, but through Riglar. Claypole chases Stapleton, but Reading's number 3 gets the better, and they continue to pass the ball around their own half. Escort just making a run past Claypole and tries to find the run on that right-hand side. Charlie Wellings is running onto it to the byline. It's covered by Cara Hamilton, and it is a goal kick. So of course a lot riding on this fixture. Reading on 11 points, Lewes on 8, and Watford winning. Doesn't do either of these sides any favours. Here's Farrugia, who looked lively in the first half against Durham, testing the Durham goalkeeper on a couple of occasions. Even one of her strikes at goal was believed to have hit the hands of a Durham defender. And Lewes were frustrated that they didn't end up getting a penalty for that incident, which of course would have helped them to get that win across the line after that gutting goal to concede in the last minute. An own goal just rubs salt in the wounds, which they'll be looking to forget this afternoon on this sunny atmosphere as the sun glistens down on the grass. Easier conditions to play in than what it was last Sunday, with high winds coming through the pan. Once again, favouring it to this left-hand side. That's taken down quickly by Woodburn, and she unleashes a pass to the on-running Lauren Wade. She feeds a ball in with her left. It's headed away by Garrod for certainty. And Reading have the first corner of the afternoon. Grace Garrett back in the side. Coming in for Ellie Hack in that back line. And Lewes managed to hold on at the expense of a corner. In swinging delivery, it's a good height, but once again, Garrett, or it's Hamilton in fact, who got to head onto it, but it comes off another Royals player, so it will be a White House goal kick. White House trying to play it into Olding, but Reading win the ball back in a positive area, but that's cut out well by the ex-Royal, Lois Roche, as Farouja drives forward. She's got the number 8, Tia Primmer, onto her, and she wins the foul after drawing it in from Tia Primmer. So Garrett to take this free kick. She tries to spot the run of Hamilton, who chases the ball, manages to get on the end of it, but instead it's the right back for Reading. But here comes Farouja. Lewes with bodies forward. A good turn there from Hamilton as she just manages to cut it forward. Farouja just trying to use her feet to fool the number 3. She whips a good ball in. Claypole's there, Wriglaw too, but it's cleared away commandingly by Stapleton, as the atmosphere just increases here in support of the Rooks. Their first glimmer at goal. Claypole just trying to keep it under her spell. She manages to open up some room. She strikes it goalwards, doesn't quite get the power. It is deflected off a Reading player. And they'll try and bring the ball forward through their captain, Woodburn. But it's cut out once again and one back in the heart of that midfield by Holly Olding, who's been an ever-present for the Rooks this season since signing from Crystal Palace. Played a total of 1,056 minutes this season, the most out of any Lewes player. And got a couple of goals as well in those 1,000+ minutes in red and black. Good turn there from Hamilton, but the pass is just behind Farouja, but she manages to latch onto it. To Garrett, who's pressured there by Charlie Wellings. And that's cut out by Brooke Hendricks. Garrett occupying Wellings. Reading tried to bring it forward. It's one back by Lewes. Another good turn from Olding as she sets off a pass to Hazard, who chases it and tries to feed a ball in behind. Hand runs onto it fairly late. And Lewes have a throw. Another good turnout from the Rooks this afternoon. Scott Booth was very appreciative of the turnout that was here last week against Durham, and it certainly helps the players. This last week was certainly an improved performance from what we've seen in the first half of the season. And there are plenty of Rooks fans out here today to enjoy some afternoon football in the sun. Hazard. Olding finding some room. That's a good pass there into hand as she's just unable to take it in behind and open up an opportunity. Roche will chase, but it will be another throw for the Rooks. Olding involved in that passage of play there. Hand just unable to try and pull off a shot. But here is Hand again, trying to find Olding with that flicked header. Farouja will watch that ball as it comes down. She'll strike it from distance. But that's fairly routine for Ivanitz, the young goalkeeper. As Firouzja fancied one from distance. Just couldn't quite get the precision. Escort just dropping deep. And fizzing one out to that right for May Keth. She's chased down by Firouzja. It's looked like she's had a new lease of life since the 2-month break over the Christmas period. Wriglar just getting on the end of that throw from Hamilton. Now Firouzja trying to make that return pass to Hamilton. Garrod with the cutout, but it falls kindly back to Jessie Woolley. But then she manages to try take it away. But the Rooks win it back. So far containing Reading well. Godfrey. Claypole just dropping deep to help out her centre-back. And Roche dealing with a few Reading players around her in a tight area. Composure as she calmly passes it back to Hannah Godfrey, who won the player of the match last weekend. Whitehouse's pass to Hand is almost won back by Reading, but Godfrey once again showing composure, and Hand managing to take it beyond the Reading midfield. What a passage of play that could have been. It's still kept alive by Wriglar as she sets off a pass to Firouzja. Can Firouzja get in behind? She just needs to sort her footing out. Here is Firouzja! And it's in! Maria Firouzja scores early on in this fixture to cap off a lovely round of play from the Rooks. It looked like Reading won it back, but Wriglar was there to just loft it in behind. Firouzja managed to get the better of the Reading defender, sorted out her feet, and struck it home into that far corner. And that is Firouzja's first goal in black and red in the league. And what a time to score. In this big fixture, Lewes draw first blood through their wide player, Maria Firouzja, just after I was saying she's had a new lease of life. She goes and gets her first goal. Puts her side a goal in front. So just before the quarter of an hour mark, Lewes draw first blood. And so far they've been the more dominant side. Their first real chance on goal. And it ends in 1-2. Hazard trying to find the head of Wriglar, which she does. Claypole getting stuck in and tries to take it beyond. Hand showing her pace there, but just misses out to Tia Primmer, and Primmer draws the foul. From Jackie Hand. Just say you saw a glimmer of the pace that she can possess down that right-hand side. Or both wings for that matter. That's a good takedown there from the Reading player as she sets off a nice pass to Lauren Wade. Can they get an early equaliser? They can't. Wayward strike from Wade there as she's in search for her third goal in the campaign. Trying to aim for that near post, but well over the woodwork. Never troubling Whitehouse. Whitehouse with the goal kick out to that centre left of the Lewes attack. Hand will be occupied by Primmer once again. That's turning out to be a duel between the two so far in this opening 15 minutes. Here come Wade as Reading enjoy their possession in the final third. That's short-lived as Wade's unable to get on that return pass, so it will be a throw-in for the Rooks. Of course, you've got other big games in the Championship today. Birmingham versus the London Lionesses, 5th versus 9th. That's another side that both Reading and Lewes will be looking at in the London City Lionesses. Crystal Palace versus Charlton, right at the top of the league, 3rd versus 2nd. Both aiming for top spot. And of course, Sheffield United versus Southampton. Sheffield United have the potential to be drawn into a relegation battle, and we'll be hoping they can beat Southampton, take them away from it. But in the meantime, Hamilton's into a good position here. Olding's on the edge of the area. Can she tee another one up from distance? She can't. Calls for a foul, but Lewes continued to play with the ball. Roche's pass is cut out. Garrett will try and keep it alive. Ferrugia. Hamilton. Good defending there from May Keith. She stretches out a leg, but Lewes get a throw at the expense of that defending there from the Reading right back. So Hamilton on that far side, aiming for Riglar once again. She's often the target for throw-ins. Here is Claypole, who's looking lively so far. The low knee. Olding forced back to Hamilton as she's just chased by Perry. Calls for a foul, and Lewes have a foul. They have a free kick through Holly Olding, drawing in the challenge. Such an important player for the Rooks in that midfield. And it's always handy for a side when a midfielder has an eye for goal, like Olding does. But another opportunity. Lois Roche, the new set-piece taker for Scott Booth's side, has a chance to put in a ball with the aim for Lewes to go 2 up here. The referee, Jade Wardle, just taking her time to blow the whistle, but she now does, allowing Roche to put in a ball, almost finding the head of Olding. Ferrugia, can she get a second? She can't, just shows too much of the ball there as Garrett tries to win it back, but can Reading try and hit back? Unable to, as Hazard will feed a ball out to hand down this right-hand side. She's chased by the captain. She manages to win that battle, lofts the ball in again, over the crossbar from Claypole. Unfortunate for the youngster. She was in search of a goal on her first start for the Rooks. But it was the brilliant work from Jackie Hand down this right-hand side who managed to get the better of Lily Woodburn. Plenty of room on that right. Feeding across the face of goal, and Claypole just couldn't quite sort out her footing to tap it home. Played along the floor to Woodburn. Stapleton. Escort trying to loft a ball out to that right. Garrett tracks it and feeds it to Hamilton, but her clearance goes as far as the Reading right back, May Keith. Woodburn. Here's Wade. Hand just occupying the wide player for Reading, as they just enjoy possession around the back line with a high line right now, as they have an opportunity to try and attack Lewes. A nice layoff there from Wellings, as Reading have bodies forward here, but it's cut out by Hamilton, and it will be a throw in a dangerous position for Lewes. May Kith on that far side. The tall presence of Jessie Woolley is lurking in the box. Picked up by Escort. She looked like she was going to play it back, but instead May Kith will receive it as she lofts a good ball in. Hazard's there. Lets the ball fall all the way to Lauren Wade on this left-hand side. Woodburn. Pass easily cut out by Riglar. That'll disappoint Reading as they manage to just gift the ball back. Hazard trying to spot the run of Claypole, but Stapleton's there to get in the way of that ball. So another throw in for the Rooks. They're in search for a second. So Lewes will try and learn from their mistakes from last week to try and see a game off. Although Scott Booth did say the way Durham played and the weather conditions last weekend didn't help matters. And that's a brilliant ball from Hazard to find Firouzja. Can she get a second? She gets it on target as Annett comes down to her near post to prevent Firouzja from getting a brace. Reading bringing the ball forward now. But what a ball that was from Hazard on the right-hand side. Managed to get the distance on it too to find Firouzja on that far left side in the penalty area. Riglar controlling it with her left as she's just holding off Stapleton. Han now. Claypole. As Roche tries to fizz one out to the left. But Reading get it back through Perry. As Hamilton's just onto her. Perry still, but Hamilton wins that battle. So far they're winning their duels, Lewes. And Hamilton still with the ball as she makes a good run, but just shows too much of that to Escort, whose clearance goes straight out of play for a Rook's throw. Escort, 1 goal this season, signed from Birmingham in the summer, or started out at Reading in 2016, Charlie Escort. Played for a lot of English clubs since, Birmingham City being the most recent. She played last season here at the Pan for Birmingham in their 4-0 win. And was part of the Reading side that won the division in 2015 to see them promoted to the Premier League at the time, the Division 1 of women's football in England back in the mid-2010s. And now finds herself as a Welsh international. Woodburn, slightly behind Hendricks, but she retrieves that ball. As we approach the midway point of this first half, so far Lewes in control, but don't want to allow Reading to just find a way back into this game. But so far, albeit they are leading by a goal, Reading are still in it for as long as that is the case. So Lewes with a job to try and add to this and not make it a nervy ending to the game, but still plenty of time left to be played. Hand, nice layoff there from Claypole just before Hand got on the end of that ball. Hand going inside, here is Claypole now. Cuts it, stops it, Hand with a strike with her left that she'll want to forget as that's well wide. Unable to execute that curling effort that she was aiming for. Never troubling Annett in the Reading goal. So will be another goal kick. Annett finds May Kith, but her heavy touch is met by Hendricks' clearance. Another throw for the Rooks. So the majority of the ball has been spent in the Reading half. And the same goes for now with Hamilton with the throw. But Reading win it back. Once again, though, unable to keep it in the parameters of the pitch, and Woolley brings the ball out of play for another throw taken by the skipper, Cara Hamilton. This time they find themselves with a throw higher up the pitch, which will only help their cause at trying to get a second. Hamilton trying to take it around the outside. She's fouled. So Jade Wardle raises her right arm to signal a free kick for the Rooks. Another opportunity for the ex-Reading player Lewes Roche to deliver a ball in. Hazard, Olding and Hamilton outside of the area, but Roche aims it in and almost creeps in as it's mishandled by the youngster Ivanitz. It will be a corner kick, but she came off her line quickly. It went through her grasp and out to play for a corner. Reading with more defending to do. So Lewes Roche again, this time on the right side of the Lewes attack to put a ball in. Lofts it in and it spills again, but this time it is cleared away. And a second time by Perry as she just backs up that clearance from the Reading 6-yard box. Let off again for Ivanitz in goal. Of course, it is her first ever league appearance as a 17-year-old, which is no mean feat. Fruja trying to get on the end of that throw. Instead, it will be cleared and it just deflects off Riglar, so a throw for Reading. So here is May Kith, the Cameroonian. Played for Canada under-17s originally, but switched to Cameroon and has spent time in France, and more recently Sweden. Olding looking like she was fancying her chances to tee one up. And Godfrey with a great pass to hand. Here is Riglar, spilled by Annette, and it's in! The 17-year-old won't want to look at that one again, as Grace Riglar gets her second goal in 2 games. 3 in total for the Rooks, 2 goals up to 0 now. As Riglar struck it from distance. And Ivanitz just spilled it, allowing the ball to trickle in behind her. Unfortunate for the under-17. But very, very fortunate for Grace Riglar. 2-0 to Lewes. And they won't care. Any goal will matter. It's been a rarity to find the back of the net for the Rooks this season. But Riglar creeping up with another one, this time with her right foot. And Lewes's 10th goal of the season in 13 games. Lewes in the driving seat now. And Reading with a 2-goal deficit to handle. Woodburn. So far, though, the new signings for Lewes are really making a difference, it has to be said. Woodburn. Her ball in is met by the hands of Sophie Whitehouse. She just had to deal with that dipping ball from the skipper, Lily Woodburn, on the left. The Riglar strike just dipped as well, which wouldn't have been easy for Annette to handle. But she won't care, Grace Riglar, as she is now deployed as more of an attacking player, which Scott Booth is happy to stick with. This is the second time in 2 games now, and it's paying off. Here is Farouja still running into that penalty area, but Escort manages to nick the ball off her and clear it away, but once again Lewes with another throw. Keeping their foot on the gas here, the Rooks. And another throw. There's just going to be a break in play as Eve Annett is down on the floor. Of course, you do have Emily Ormond on the bench. The 21-year-old who signed from Chelsea. Played in the Championship the season before last with Crystal Palace, helping the Eagles get to a 4th place finish. So Emily Ormond was benched for an injury, and this isn't looking good for Liam Gilbert, the manager of Reading, as Eve Annett, his other goalkeeper, currently finds herself with a slight knock. Scott Booth just talking to his side to surely tell them to keep them playing the way they have been, not take their foot off the gas and go into the latter stages of this game in the driving seat and in as much control as possible, which hasn't been the case in recent games, but currently is. Lewes have only scored 2 goals at home in 1 game. So far, this is the 2nd time they've done that this season. The other time, of course, was the 2-1 win against the Lionesses back in November, where they found themselves a goal down, and it was Anna Gray's free kick that managed to make it 2. Can they make it 3? Hamilton across the face of goal. Annett this time controlling the ball. Claypole was lurking, but Annett clawed that ball up to prevent any opportunity for Lewes to make it to 3. Stapleton. Out to Hendricks. There's a positive atmosphere at the Pan this afternoon now, with the sun shining down. Lovely afternoon for the Rooks, and the result certainly matches that as well. Olding finding herself on the left this time, just occupied by May Kith. And Hamilton safely back to Garrod. Roche fizzing one out to her ever-present colleague and Hannah Godfrey. Came in from Charlton together and find themselves at the Rooks now. Hand, lofting a ball in, Claypole gets her head onto it, unable to steer it goalwards and prevent an opportunity on goal, but still found herself in a positive position. Hand with a good ball into the young striker. Wriglar just chasing Escort. Stapleton now, lofting it out to Wade. Wade, signed from Glentoran, Northern Irish international. Played at Glentoran with Cara Hamilton as well. So they know plenty about each other, albeit Wade playing on a different side to Hamilton this afternoon. Primmer just trying to take it beyond a player in red, frustrated as she felt it was a throw-in, in fact. Jackie Hand for Lewes. Woodburn. Out to Stapleton. Making a diagonal run. May Kith trying to beat Hamilton. Garrod, good defending there from Garrod. Faruja managed to get a touch onto that, which actually acted out as a clever pass in field. Wriglar. Faruja making a good run as she tries to spot the run of Claypole. Unable to execute that pass. And Stapleton will hoof that away, coming off a red shirt. So a throw for Reading it will be. So far, Lewes winning their duels, winning their one-on-ones, nullifying any threat Reading have. So they haven't really had an effort on goal yet. And Lewes will try and make sure that stays the case. Hand, good turn as she tries to bring the ball forward. Roche, once again, who sees so much of the ball, was very impressed with her in the performance against Durham. Thought she was one of the player of the matches. And she still manages to retain the ball there as she had 3 red or grey shirts onto her. But dealt with it calmly once again. Godfrey making a run on that right. Wrigler trying to, it was Holding in fact, who tried to feed it into the path of Hazard down that right-hand side. But they weren't quite on the same wavelength there, Holding and Hazard. Wade. Perry trying to keep it under a spell. Back to Wade. His hand just puts an arm into her. Reading, of course, finding themselves in 10th place going into this game. They haven't won in the league since their victory at home to Lewes back in October. That'll be a foul, and Lewes will have a free kick. Of course, they had a 4-0 win against Cheltenham in the FA Cup, which was then ended, their FA Cup run, by Wolverhampton Wanderers, who find themselves on the up in women's football. But of course, their last league win against Lewes back in October, and then went on a losing streak of 3 league defeats, which are then followed up by a draw against Watford and Palace, which has seen them keep afloat of the bottom 2 for now. So far, Lewes doing everything they can to level on points with Reading. Roche with the delivery, Wrigler's up there, but Reading deal with it well as they hoof it away for safety. Hamilton will watch that ball and chase it, but then give it away to Perry in doing so. Reading with a good opportunity here as they're getting bodies forward, but brilliant midfield work from Hazard. Actually, Jade Wardle thought the opposite. She thought it was a foul. Reading will now have themselves a free kick. Originally, it looked like Hazard won the ball back fairly, but probably just clipped the back of the Reading player. So they have a free kick now in the Lewes half and an opportunity to try and pull a goal back. Just over 6 minutes left of the first 45. As Wardle blows her whistle. It'll be the captain, Woodburn, to put a ball in with her left. Reading almost get a head onto it. They do, in fact, but unable to get it anywhere near the target. Fortunate for Lewes there, because it was a good delivery. Just didn't quite have the execution from those in the box in grey. So Whitehouse taking her time with this goal kick, which has met some frustration by Reading players, which I think you can understand. But that won't concern Scott Booth for now, as Lewes looked like they were going to play it short, but instead have a cluster of players on that left-hand side, which is where the ball goes. Hamilton unable to get on the end of that ball. Commanding clearance from Roche as Hand will try and chase. But Wade gives the ball away as Hazard is up against Wellings. Wellings calling for a foul from Hazard, but Godfrey will try and spot a run of Wrigler, but Woodburn will find herself latch on to the end of that ball. Stapleton feeding it out to Hendricks as she looks up. May Kith just in front of her. Ferrugia on to the Cameroonian. She takes the throw quickly, trying to find the run of Perry down that right, but instead it'll fall back to the Rooks. And that's short-lived after Hamilton's clearance goes out of play for a Reading throw this time. Room for Wade to run into as Woodburn finds Wade. Hand will close in, but Wade manages to edge it forward to Wellings. Here is Wade, back to Wellings, trying to take it round Hazard, but that pass into Wriglar then sees her get fouled by Woodburn. Or in fact, it was Wriglar who fouled Woodburn. So free kick for Reading, which Lewes fans across the ground didn't agree with. Escort. Out to Woolley, the debutant for Reading. That's a good ball in, and Hazard manages to get enough onto it to take it away from the Reading players who are lurking in the box, and Hand cutting out that fizzed ball in. Once again, Reading trying to play it forward late on in this first half. Can they get a first goal? They can't, as that opportunity goes well over the crossbar from Tia Primmer. She was trying to find that top corner, but just before that, it was a good passage of play from Reading. They were conjuring up something nicely. Primmer in a bit of room to the left centre of the box. She just tried to wrap her right foot around that ball. Couldn't quite get the execution. So a goal kick for Lewes is the outcome as we approach the final 3 minutes of the first half. Farrugia and Wriglar, the two scorers for the Rooks this afternoon, and here comes Farrugia, but just shows too much of the ball there to the Reading back line, and Annetts will retrieve that and try and conjure up an attack from the back here. Roche cutting that out easily with the outside of her boot, but falls kindly back to Stapleton. Hendricks. Here's Woolley, but that's chased by Olding. Farrugia trying to flick it nicely for Hamilton to run onto. May Kith, who finds herself up and down that right-hand side, typically playing right back, but they kind of switched between a back three at times here, with Wade playing more of a wing-back role. Hazard. Wriglar up there, but here's Wade again. Roche poking it towards Hazard, but that the Lewes number 4 is unable to get on the end of that. Olding looking up. Claypole trying to make a run, and Olding tries to find the run of the youngster. It's cut out by Stapleton. Safety that first there from Reading's number 3. So into the final 60+ seconds here. Lewes with the ball in the final third. We haven't really seen them attack as much as what we did in the first half an hour. That ball forward from Godfrey is cut out, but Olding looks like she could have won that ball back. Wade trying to find Wellings on this left-hand side. A throw-in for the Royals. Woodburn, Wade, they're passing around nicely here, Reading, and that's a lovely ball in behind, almost the strike, wayward again from Wellings. She hit it with the outside of her left boot, way beyond that near post that she was aiming for. Remain 2-0. The stoppage time will be announced shortly. So 4 minutes added on here. After the 2 goals scored by the Rooks. And Eve Annetts was, of course, down for a bit of time, which, of course, is a reason for the added on time now. May Kith. Woodburn, Claypole chasing, showing fight. Almost looked like she won the ball back there, but it falls kindly back to Reading, as that's a nice switch of play out to Woolley on that right-hand side. Here come Reading with a good opportunity late on, headed away by Garrett. She almost lost track of the ball, and that's a foul from from Primmer on Hamilton. But I think Primmer was also in an offside position as well. So Whitehouse with the free kick. We're over a minute into stoppage time. Lewes not giving up to try and get a third. Roche winning the ball back in the middle of the park, allowing Lewes to try and get bodies forward here as Claypole runs onto that, but Wade was always the favourite as she was just a yard or so in front of Claypole, but she kept it in almost. From my view, it looked like she kept it in, but the assistant referee on this near side thought otherwise. They win the back through Wriglaw. Here is Hand across the face of goal. Unfortunate there, no red shirts in a position to try and knock it home. May Kith, good hold-up play. She finds the run of Primmer. Fruja looked like she almost won it back briefly, but Reading trying to get a first before the end of the half, but it falls kindly back to Lewes now. They almost miscommunicated there between the Reading players. One back, Faruja, now Olding. A late surgence here from the Rooks as Hand tries to find and get on the end of that ball, but Wade got there before her. As we're close to the action ending here for the first half. Reading have grown into the game, of course, since that second goal was scored by Wriglaw after Annetts was unable to keep it under her control. Since then, Reading have shown more energy going forward and look more likely to score than the first half an hour of this afternoon's match. The referee just blowing a whistle, not for the half-time break. I think it's to have words with someone. Jade Wardle just having words with Liam Gilbert, the manager for the visitors, as is the fourth official, Yashar Yekta. May Kith up against Wriglaw. Another throw for Reading. Can they try and find a goal to really change the complexion of this half-time team talk? Escort. Got Wriglaw onto her in a flash. Hendricks will clear. Roche. No fear shown to get on the end of that header. Good pass there as it manages to almost stop a positive opportunity for the Royals, and that is the end of the first half action. Goals from Faruja and Wriglaw mean that Lewes go into the half-time break, currently 2 goals up just before we leave for the half-time break. The scores around the doors: Birmingham currently 1-0 up against London City Lionesses, goalless between Crystal Palace and Charlton, and Southampton 1-0 up at Sheffield United. So currently, as the table stands, Lewes in 11th, level on points with Reading, with London City Lionesses 9th, 1 point ahead of both of these sides. Watford go back down to bottom. So we'll be back in just under 15 minutes for the start of the second half, ending here, Lewes 2, Reading 0. Welcome back, everyone, as we are almost ready for the start of the second half. Between Lewes and Reading, both sets of players on the pitch. Reading out there in their formation, ready to try and pull something back from this result. Lewes just taking their time. More of the same from Scott Booth, I'm sure. Reading looked and grew into that second half. No clear-cut opportunities, but anything can happen, which is why Lewes will have to be and continue the way they left off. Goals from Faruja and Riglar are what are currently the difference makers in this game. And already, Lewes win the ball back, following Reading getting us off underway. Here is Hand, who looked lively in that first half down the right. Hand just trying to edge it in forward, but Reading eager to win it back. Claypole, who gets stuck in quite often. Riglar going for a second, but not getting one. Well wide of Annette's goal. She fancies them from distance, Grace Riglar. First goal, of course, was from a good distance, albeit Annette's was more likely to be the favourite to get that ball and retrieve it down, but a mistake was fortunate for Riglar. That gave her her third goal of the season. Claypole, Riglar. Lewes trying to look for an early goal here in this second half. Hazard putting in a dangerous ball, meeting the head of Primer. Corner kick for the Rooks. Already, Hazard down that right-hand side, fizzing balls in. We saw it in the first half, manages to get a good distance on them. They're powerful and always give the opponent something to think about, especially this afternoon. Been a big factor into making Lewes look dangerous going forward. So, Roche, once again, on that far side, outswinger, good height on it, but it meets the head of May Kith. So another corner. Players don't move too far from where they were just seconds ago, as Roche has a second attempt early on in this second half. More height on it this time from Roche. Still unable to find a red shirt, but it will fall to Hazard. She fancies one from distance. Just past that far post. Another effort at that far corner. This time falling to Hazard after it just rebounded nicely to her. She tried to wrap her right foot around it. Looks close from my angle. Had Annette's thinking. She takes this goal kick, aiming to find Woodburn. A shove there from Hazard, fairly late, but play will continue. And Hazard from this right-hand side, once again, we've seen her liking and choosing to whip them in from that range. She does so again with a second attempt. Riglar over the roof of the net. Two good opportunities for Lewes early on in the second half, and both involving Amelia Hazard. Riglar looking for a second again, but just couldn't quite keep that down. Claypole chasing. Comes off Hamilton, so it will be a throw-in for Reading. Escort trying to make herself available, but instead the ball falls to Primer, but Hand attracts the foul, and Lewes have a free kick, which will frustrate Reading just as they try to get a passage of play going. Roche then takes the free kick very quickly. Good cut back there from Claypole as she just finds Faruja, who drives the ball in field, fancying one from distance once again. Annette's got her hand to it. It's almost still alive here, but it's cleared away by Reading. Faruja once again. Annette's palming it on to the crossbar. It then fell only a yard or two away from the goal line, begging to be hit home by a red shirt, but no one was there to try and tap it home. May Kith chases that ball on that far side to try and keep it in, instead gives away a throw. Could have easily had a third goal there, Lewes, a second for Farrugia, who's been in some form in 2024. Claypole trying to get on the end of that hazard throw, calls for handball, but play continues. Godfrey trying to loop one in, finding Wriglar, but Reading clear it, only goes as far as hand as she tries to take it to this left-hand side. Instead, Hamilton will look to turn it infield. Just put under pressure there, giving something for the Lewes skipper to think about. She's brought down by Wade. And Lewes have a free kick. Hamilton just holding the back of her neck. It did look like Wade may have followed up there with that challenge into the back of Cara Hamilton. Garrett out to Hamilton. Farrugia's inside, but Hamilton doesn't really have an option around her. Farrugia goes in short, and here is Lewis's tricky number 10, taking it to the byline, trying to whip it in with her left. Another corner for Lewes, this time on this near side. Continuing to put pressure on Reading here, Lewes. They've come out the blocks quickly this second half, looking for a third. Roche with the ball in, almost towards that back post. She had her left hand raised, trying to shun out the sun, as it is a fairly low sunlight this afternoon, which can affect the visibility. And Annette, of course, has that glaring in her eye line, which can only help Lewes. Maybe was a factor into why they chose to shoot down this end in the second half. So Roche with a delivery once again. Farrugia providing an option short, but she whips it in again. Godfrey going down low to try and flick it goalwards. It does fall kindly to hand. What a save that is from Annette. Coming down to a near post to palm it away. Hand will chase to this near left side. Tries to take it through the legs of the Reading defender. And now Reading have an opportunity to break forward, but Hamilton nullifies that quickly and plays it all the way back to Sophie Whitehouse. Reading just unable to have any kind of cohesion going forward. Farrugia injured, but Hamilton trying to take it beyond May Kith, which she does, but couldn't quite follow that up when she had Brooke Hendricks to deal with. But she manages to take it off May Kith. A good duel there as May Kith manages to get the deciding factor just then. Here goes Hendricks. Welling trying to play it in behind, but Whitehouse comes off her line to retrieve that. So Whitehouse just down, as there was a collision there after Charlie Wellings tried to get on the end of that ball. Scott Booth's side still firmly in control, but a goal the other way would certainly swing the momentum of this game. So Lewes have to be wary, as Reading have tried to hit them on the break a couple of times, but so far Lewes have been passing the assignment and defending very well. But now they've got some more defending to do, but Roche just nicks it off Woolley. They have a throw towards their final third though, Reading. Wade. Good back heel there from Wellings as she finds Woolley, who puts the ball in. Godfrey coming out to just clear it away with the side of her right foot. Another throw for Reading on this near side. Farrugia helping out Wriglar to win the ball back and now tries to drive it forward. That's cut out though, and Reading, with committed bodies forward, can try and get it up the pitch, but instead they'll pass it around the back and go the patient way. As Stapleton threads one out to that left-hand side. It's a good ball in, almost a very good turn. Falls kindly to Jessie Woolley, who probably has had Reading's best opportunity of the game fall to her as she just strikes that over the crossbar. But that was quick there from Reading. They played from the back. Stapleton out to that left-hand side and Woolley lurking in the box, unable to hit it home and half the deficit here. Whitehouse out to Godfrey as she's just running beyond the Reading midfielder. Stapleton gets a foot onto it. Godfrey up with Wade there. Escort trying to feed it back for that return pass. Primmer playing it back to Woodburn. Good passing here from Reading as they managed to win the free kick on that far side. Lewes with some more thinking to do in the defensive department. And an opportunity here for Reading to pull one back. It will fall to Lily Woodburn, the captain, to whip one in with her left. The referee just making sure the wall are in the correct place. Claypole and Ferrugia being ordered to just step back a couple of yards. A congested area around that penalty spot as Woodburn lofts it in with her left. Felt like the referee blew a whistle just a second or so after the ball had left Woodburn's left foot. But it falls back to the skipper. That's cut out by Roche. And Lewes with an opportunity to get bodies forward. There was plenty of room on that right-hand side. Hand just unable to execute that pass, allowing Reading to get bodies forward. But the referee, the assistant referee's flag, is raised on this near side. But what an opportunity that would have been for Lewes. It felt like if Hand was able to execute that pass, of course, props to the Reading player. I think it was Brooke Hendricks that managed to intercept that. There is going to be a substitution for Reading. On comes Bethan Roberts, the defender, for number 28, Lily Woodburn. So the captain making way for number 31, Bethan Roberts. And a second substitution. 2 changes made by Liam Gilbert in the first 13 minutes here of this second half, sorry. And off comes Cameroonian Esther Mayi Kith for number 2, Rachel Dugdale. Rachel Dugdale, to say on the team sheet, Newborough. She's recently been married due to the surname change, so Dugdale is a new married name, which is what she should go by. But in the meantime, a Lewes player has been knocked, currently down on the floor. Will require some medical attention here. It's Wriglaw. He likes to get stuck in and sometimes, therefore, attracts a foul here and there. Something to do with her head, so hopefully she is okay. Godfrey just going over, but whilst Wriglaw's just being looked at for some medical attention, let's have a look at the scores on the doors. In the Women's Championship, so of course, Durham 0, Watford 2 was the score earlier on. Birmingham still remain a goal up at London, or against London City Lionesses. Crystal Palace and Charlton remain goalless, and Sheffield United Southampton is still 1-0 to the side from down south. What a title race we've got going, by the way. Of course, Lewes are focused on other parts of the league. like their opponents today, but Sunderland on 28 points, played 14 games, same as Southampton, but they're on 27 points. Charlton, 27 points, and they're in third with Birmingham. A game played, or one match played. 13 matches played. Birmingham on 26 points, finally got that out. And Crystal Palace on 13 games with 25 points, so 3 points separating the top 5. What a title race. 5 teams in it. I should be looking at the action as well. Scott Booth has just been carded, I believe, as Jade Wardle has gone over to Scott Booth, obviously frustrated at what has happened with Grace Wriglar, believing that it probably was due something more harsh than just or more serious than just a free kick. But a free kick is taken quickly. And Reading will play it round the back, as they often like to. Here is the substitute, Dugdale. And Dugdale is on her back, so that is her name. Stapleton trying to feed it infield, but Godfrey's there. Wriglar is now back on as we approach or into the final 29 minutes of the game. It was Wriglar's goal, that was Lewes's second, and keeps them firmly in the driving seat. But anything can change, and Lewes will have to be alert and try and avoid a nervy end of the game. That was the case against Durham, and saw Durham manage to nick a point. And Farrugia opening up an opportunity. Wriglar's there to try and get a flick on. Olding was lurking too, but Primer just managed to get there before Olding could have. You would have fancied Olding's chances to strike one from distance as well. But Reading bring bodies forward quickly here. It's a strike straight at Whitehouse. Routine for Lewis's number 1. To just collect that effort, struck by Madison Perry on the left-hand side, cutting in. But straight at Lewis's goalkeeper. Hamilton trying to spot the run of Hand, but instead it's just to the right of Jackie Hand. And Lauren Wade will just play it all the way back to Annette. So he's put under pressure from an on-running Hand. Here's Roberts. She loses the ball to Farrugia, and then that goes through Welling's legs. And Lewes have a throw. Hamilton trying to spot Wriglar. Instead, Woolly's in a bit of room. It came off Roche, but the assistant referee adjudicates that to have come off herself, so it will be another Lewes throw. Hamilton looking to play it down that left, but instead will get the return pass from Olding, unable to keep that under a spell, comes off her shin, and Reading in a rush to take, as you can understand why. That falls kindly to Olding. Here is Hamilton. Now Olding again. She looks up, but along the floor to Roche is the outcome there. Godfrey fizzing one into Hand, a slightly heavy touch, brings down Primer in the follow-up. Calls for a foul, but nothing given from Jade Wardle, and Hazard will bring it forward down that right. Wriglar. Hazard trying to make herself an option for that return pass. And now she whips it in. Claypole's there, heads it goalwards. Unable to get any sort of real connection onto that, as Reading now try to get it forward down their right. Hamilton cutting that out. Lewes with a good opportunity here. Hand brought down. Referee believes nothing was in that. 2 calls there. One for both sets of players, where the other thought it was a foul on their end. And now here come Reading. End-to-end stuff here at the Pan in this second half. Perry trying to find Primer, but instead Olding cuts it out and clears it away. Safety first there from Holly Olding. Claypole brought down, and the referee pulling it back for a foul from a Lewes player on Jessie Woolley. Reading bench very vocal, you can hear them from my distance. Liam Gilbert just having some words spoken to him from the referee. His hands are on his knees. And he receives a yellow card. Tensions flaring in the dugouts opposite to the gantry. And in the meantime, Reading have a free kick. And if this was to go the way of Reading, you'd see Liam Gilbert with a smile on his face, which hasn't been the case for the time being. Swings one in over the intended targets, and the ball will surely creep out of play. As Madison Perry didn't give up on that, chased it down to the corner flag, unable to retrieve it, so it will be a White House goal kick. Garrod. Ferrugia chests it down, but also gives it away. Plenty of red shirts going over to where the ball is to try and win the ball back. The new captain now, Brooke Hendricks, who has taken the armband off Lily Woodburn following her departure. Roberts trying to spot the run of Primer instead. Garrod is brought down after she heads it behind her. I think she just tripped over herself there. So it didn't look like there was any contact from a Reading player. Two substitutes in the warming. About to come on for the Rooks. Sarah Brazero Carrera and Anna Gray. So Brazero Carrera and Gray to come on, and it will be Maria Ferrugia making way for Anna Gray. So a like-for-like substitution made by Scott Booth. On comes a flary winger for another one. Ferrugia opened the scoring, of course, in the afternoon's game. From the left side of the penalty area. Managed to compose herself and strike it beyond Eve Annett. And Jackie Hand coming off just after the hour mark, just like she did against Durham for Brazero Carrera. Two positive changes made by Scott Booth and good substitutions to bring on. Depth wasn't really a factor of Lewes's first half of the season due to injuries as well. Their bench would always have a handful of players on, but now you have got a healthy list of players that Scott Booth can go to in the latter stages of the game, and that's what he's done this afternoon. Headed away by Roche. Hamilton clears it away with her right. Chased by Hendricks. Gray getting stuck in her first bit of action after coming on for Ferrugia. Woolley pausing and then opting to loft it in. Brazero Carrera tries to get something onto it but mistimes it, allowing Wade for an opportunity. Another lofted ball in. This time it's towards Woolley. Surely a goal. Wide of the post. A golden opportunity for Tia Primer as Jessie Woolley before that side-footed it anywhere either side of White House. It would have surely been a goal, but instead it was straight at Lewis's shot stopper. And then ricochets back to Tia Primer, who just snatched at it, and it went wide of the post. Are things going the way of Lewes? So far they are. Will it stay that way? 21 minutes to go, and it remains 2-0 to the hosts, as we just have a break in play for White House to receive some medical attention. That really was an opportunity, the best opportunity for Reading. Let off for Lewes, it has to be said. But they won't care right now. If they was to have got that in and Reading were to have scored there, that certainly would have changed the complexion of the last 20 minutes here. So Whitehouse is all good to carry on, as expected. Lewes now 20 minutes away from getting their first win of 2024. Whitehouse trying to find Wriglar. She does get on the end of it, but doesn't quite keep it in possession for her side. Now she wins it back. Claypole almost looked like she slipped, but tried offloading a pass to that right. No red player there to get on the end of that pass. Claypole chases. It looked like Stapleton was being very casual with the ball, but of course play hadn't resumed properly yet then, which will explain her stance, but now it does. Through Escort, back to Stapleton. Cuts it round Claypole and tries to play it out to that left-hand side, cut out by Hazard this time, and Roche just tries to nip it into the direction of Roche. Picked up by Woolley, of course, just had that golden opportunity that she sliced straight at Whitehouse. Throw in for Reading, as they're in a hurry. Lofted in with the right, now falls kindly to the substitute. What an effort! Denied by the crossbar. Substitute Bethan Roberts, striking it well, getting some good connection onto it. And it just dipped, looked like it was going over, but dipped at that far point in the shot, straight at the crossbar. So another opportunity for Reading. They're really throwing the kitchen sink at it now. Into a good area, Primmer again, unable to get any good connection onto it, just like that chance about 5 minutes ago. And it's wide of the woodwork too. So it still remains 2-0 to Lewes. They've been let off, they've got lucky. And rode their luck in the last 10 minutes. But Reading have had some poor finishing in this game, it has to be said, but unlucky there from Bethan Roberts, as that was a good hit. Whitehouse finds Gray, slightly heavy touch, but Hamilton tries to regain the ball. Throw-in is the outcome. Olding. Back to Roche. Hamilton fizzing it down this left-hand side. Hamilton knew that was hers. We'll get that throw-in. Hamilton trying to spot Gray. Instead, Escort just loses her footing. Thought she was fouled. Hamilton. Two grey shirts onto her. She wins the throw. Falls kindly back to Wriglar as she slides down low to try and keep the ball. Olding, could she tee one up? She can, but not quite the accuracy that we've seen previously this season from Holly Olding. Over the frame, never troubling Annett. Gray running in. Wriglar gets a foot in to keep the ball for the Rooks. Here's Brazero Carrera with her first real shot with the ball. Gray back out to Brazero Carrera. And Hamilton. Now Gray again, but she's in an offside position. So that Lewes attack is cut short by the assistant referee on the far side. So we're into the final 15 minutes here of the game. Hamilton heading it away from Welling. Godfrey just calmly passes it to Wriglar, maybe too calm there as Reading win the ball back. And that was good improvisation there with the outside of her boot there from Wellings. Good ball in, Hamilton gets a foot onto it, calls for a pass back, as it did come off the side of her right foot. And Whitehouse welcomed that as she picked it up. Gray. Forced to run back and play it all the way back to Whitehouse as she's chased by Welling. Wellings. Roche tries to play it out to that right-hand side. Olding going to help her teammate out. Roche just turns away from trouble. Godfrey hoofing it forward, trying to find Wriglar. Hazard with another clearance this time. Claypole furthest forward, just dropping deep to get on the end of that. It goes all the way back to Annett. Here's Woodburn. Hazard cutting it out. That's good control there from Brazero Carrera into the path of Roche. But that long ball is wayward, unable to find a player in red. And instead back to Eve Annett in the neon green goalkeeper strip. Good interception there from Hamilton. And Roche quickly passes it into Anna Gray. She knew exactly what she was doing, and Gray's pass is just to the right of Claypole. Unable to quite get the accuracy on that pass there. Called for a foul from Gray on Roberts, but nothing given. Play resumes. Annett controlled nicely by Stapleton as she drives forward with the ball. Cut out by Brazero Carrera. Now all the way back to Whitehouse, who's got Perry running onto her. That heavy touch from Olding gifts the ball away. Here come Reading, but cleared away by Roche commandingly. Claypole with a good layoff to Brazero Carrera. She manages to get the better of the Reading player there, and Jade Wardle with an extremely slow reaction there to blow the whistle. As it looked like Brazero Carrera was going to be off on a flash to run down that flank. So 851 fans at the ground this afternoon. A great turnout, as mentioned earlier on in the stream, that the two last weekends have certainly seen a higher increase in footfall at the Pan, and it's great to see. And it's certainly having an impact on the players, as the performances in these last two games have certainly been standouts at the Pan this season. That ball's kept in by the byline. Wriglar! This time Annett catches it. As Wriglaw struck it into the ground, Annette still had to be alert, and so she was, preventing Wriglaw from getting a brace, and Lewes securing all 3 points. 10 minutes left of this Women's Championship affair. Here's Doug Gale. Patiently waits for the option, and here's Roberts. Tries to keep it in. Hamilton, it comes off her. Hamilton believed that it didn't go out of play. No doubt that the ball did hit Hamilton. She felt it was on the right side of the byline. So a corner for Reading, an opportunity on this near side for their number 11, Lauren Wade, to put a ball in with her left. Wade raises her right arm, whips it in with her left. Hazard was there on the goal line to head it away. The players do not move, as Wade has a second opportunity to try and perfect this delivery and pull one back for the Royals. More height this time. Whitehouse palms it away, but it's still in a dangerous area, begging to be hit home. It is then by Roberts, and they pulled one back. They've got it this time, Reading, which really opens up this game for the final 10 minutes here at the Pan. Congested 6-yard area. Lewes were just unable to keep it out. And it was Bethan Roberts who struck it in, finding the back of the net. And in fact, it was Bethan Roberts prior to that goal that arguably had their best chance at Whitehouse's goal all game for Reading, as she smashed the ball to the crossbar. And are we going to see a replica of last weekend's game? Reading have allowed that to be the opportunity now, potentially, or they've opened up the potential of that opportunity. Lewes are thinking to do. Grace Palmer coming on for Lois Roach, had another good game in central midfield. I think composure and calmness on the ball are her 2 biggest attributes, so that we've seen here. Grace Palmer coming on at a crunch point in this game, and you could argue a crunch point in Lewis's season. 8 minutes left, plus stoppage time. That goal will have increased it by a little bit. Palmer with her first touch on the ball. Almost looks like she weaved her way out of trouble there, and she did. Good run here from Palmer. What an introduction this would have been. Gray at the goal. Side foots it with her left, way over. But Palmer beforehand. Great ball control. She was in a tight area in the centre of the field. Reading being risky there, passing it out through the back with Lewes pressure running onto them. Hamilton once again intercepts it, tries to stay on her feet and does so. Hazard back to Godfrey, hoofed forward. A spring in Reading step now with that goal, injecting confidence into them. Brought forward by Stapleton, but one back, Palmer. Claypole. Here's Olding, pokes it back. Godfrey leaves it for Whitehouse. Wriglaw's there to try and get on the end of it. Olding playing it forward. And Brazero Carrera's unable to get on the end of that ball, played down the right by Hazard. Escort. Palmer More good work there from Lewes's number 8 as she manages to set off a pass to Gray, who charges forward, puts the ball into a dangerous area. Good defending there by Hendricks. And cleared away by the goal scorer for Reading, Roberts. Here's Gray, keeping it under a spell with her left and playing it safely back to Godfrey. Lewes continuing to look for a third, with the pressure on them now. Olding. Palmer. Perry onto her, but Palmer deals with it so well. And Reading bring the ball forward. This is a good opportunity, but a miscommunication there. Players on a different wavelength, it seemed, as Wellings was making a run towards that centre of the Reading attack, but the ball was heading to the left. And Bracero Carrera winning the foul after Reading gave it away in the Lewes half. The home side now have a free kick in the Reading one now. So Lewes now with an opportunity to reinstall that 2-goal lead. Grace Palmer, the substitute, over this free kick. She whips it in with her right. Wriglow's there, and another acrobatic save, this time again from Annett. Made the mistake in the first half, but no mistakes made in the second for the young goalkeeper. And now could this conjure up a counter-attack for Reading? It's put into the danger zone, and it's struck over by Lauren Wade. Relief for the Rooks, as Wriglow looked like she was going to get a second there. Annett with the save, and Reading with the charge forward to try and hit Lewes on the counter. There is going to be another substitution. Off comes the number 9, Madison Perry, in her third appearance this year. On comes number 22, Amelia Elwood, the 18-year-old. Only come into contention this year, Amelia Elwood, the midfielder. Made 8 appearances, only played 95 minutes throughout those 8 appearances. And she comes on for the end of the game, as we have, or are now in the last 3 minutes here of the 90. Elwood brought on by Liam Gilbert to help the team complete the comeback. Nervy times here for the Rooks, which is what they would have wanted to avoid. And Hazard just miscues that there as it's then fed in the box. A corner for Reading. Lewes won't want the same outcome of this corner as what happened with the last. So Jessie Woolley on that far side, plenty of height, and it was headed wide. Oh my, it looked like it was a clear header at goal. Steered to that right corner. Whitehouse had no chance. And straight out of the parameters of the pitch. Goal kick. Whitehouse feeding it out to Wriglow. Once again, she gets her head onto it. Anna Gray just holding off Dudgale with her right arm. So thrown for Lewes. Do they commit bodies forward, or do they hold on to this slender 1-goal lead? Into the final 90 seconds here at the Pan. Wriglow's header goes down that left-hand side. Gray picks the ball up, but she's got escort onto her. Another throw for Lewes. There is going to be another substitution. Rihanna Blades about to come on for the Rooks. And she comes on for Grace Wriglow. So the goal scorer of Lewes is second, potentially the match winner. Comes off for the out-and-out attacker in Rihanna Blades. Another good game from Wriglaw. Plenty of confidence going through Lewes's number 2 this season. 2 goals in her last 2 games, 3 all season. And Lewes with a throw. Stoppage time still yet to be announced, but you can imagine it being a fair bit with the goal and some time for injuries. Gray going to the byline. And it's a throw for Reading, deep into their own half. Garrett instructing to the assistant referee, Phoebe Horner, that it was Lewes's ball, and that is the outcome. Lewes will be happy with where the ball is currently situated, as far away from the Reading goal as possible. So 7 minutes added on here.
7 minutes.
Reading wanting to take their goal kick quickly, and so they do. And it's out to that left, knee down by Stapleton, back to their number 3. Headed away by Godfrey to a clever area where Blades is. Her first touch on the ball is a lobbed ball forward to Brazero Carrera. Can she keep it down? She can, and forces Jessie Stapleton to commit a foul. A free kick to the Rooks, that'll do. And Stapleton goes into the book. Yellow card shown by Jade Wardle. So Jackie Hand with the player of the match, after she came off in the 65th minute. But a tricky player, and of course one that's helped Scott Booth's side get to where they currently are. Albeit no goals or assists recorded yet, but certainly you can see them coming with the qualities she possesses in that attacking position for Scott Booth's side. So the band being as loud as possible just behind Annett's goal, as Lewes have a corner here, which they're taking their time for. 2 red players around them, 3 over there in total, with Olding, Brazero Carrera and Claypole. Gray and Blades are lurking, but the ball will stay into that corner flag territory. Doesn't go their way though, Lewes. Reading have a throw, which they take quickly. It was the number 22, Amelia Elwood, who looked like she was going to bring it forward, but it comes off a red shirt. Another throw again. Blades trying to find Claypole. Does find Claypole after it kindly fell to her following that touch from the Reading player. Olding is unable to keep it in. Claypole furthest forward, pressurising Brooke Hendricks. But now, here comes Dudgale out to Wellings on this right-hand side as Gray chases and gets the last touch there. It will be a corner for the Rooks. Whitehouse surprised at the assistant referee's decision, but it did look like it came off Anna Gray last. Lauren Wade on this near side once again. Puts the ball into the danger zone, headed away by Garrett. Great defending there from Lewes's number 5. Back out to Wade, who whips it into the danger zone again! And they've got the equaliser! 2 late goals for Reading! Mean the points are shared at this current moment in time. Gutting for Lewes at the pan. 2 consecutive matches where the away side have nicked an equaliser. Obviously, it's not over yet, but that is gutting. And it was a corner from the same position. 2 corners down that side and 2 goals. So Tia Primer gets her 2nd or 3rd goal for Reading. Can they get the win now? Jessie Woolley smashes that wide. Tia Primer, the number 8, 3 goals this season. Here come Lewes for a late surge. That'll please Reading, as Lewes had a tight grasp on these 3 points, which Reading have loosened. Currently, the points will be shared, which did not look like an outcome. It really has been a game of 2 halves. Lewes just unable to get the ball round the Reading players, but Olding wins it back. This could be promising here for Lewes. It's a throw-in for the Rooks. Now or never. Moments away from stoppage time. Hamilton clears it forward. Claypole's up there, so is Blades. Claypole almost looking like she could have got her head onto it. Commandingly cleared away by Hendricks. Palmer contesting. It's Bracero Carrera who once again wins the foul. An opportunity here for Lewes. The game is not over. And it's a red card. The goal scorer of the 2nd goal for Reading has been sent off, albeit she's likely split the points here. She's now sent to have an early bath, albeit by a handful of minutes, as there's barely any time left in the game, but still, Reading will end this game with 10 players. Lewes with the player advantage. Can they use that and get a goal in front now? Not through that, and it spills it again! Oh my! Olding on the follow-up. It looked like Claypole was going to get her first goal as a Rook, and what a goal that would have been. Annette spills it, but this time isn't left embarrassed. It remains 2-2. What an ending here. And that's won back by Blades. Can they get the winner? Blades, Bracero Carrera is there, but Blades is forced to the byline. Still Blades, now Bracero Carrera strikes it a goal, but unable to get any connection. Gray chases, Lewes with the throw. My heart is beating, as is Lewes fans around the ground, and I'm sure those at home. Poor throw, as a Reading player just clears it away, but Palmer edges it back out to Hamilton. She thumps it forward, headed away by Hendricks. Now Olding, what a time this would be to score. And her head goes to the ground, as that is the final bit of the action. Olding strike unable to find a winner. Lewes were in full control in that first half, but Reading got the goal back late on in the second, which then opened up a devastating end for the Rooks. Hamilton is beside herself, as the goals from Maria Ferrugia and Grace Riglar in the first half were not enough to seal all 3 points, as substitute Bethan Roberts and now top goal scorer Tia Primer hit back to share the points and keep that 3-point gap between Reading and Lewes still intact. It ends here. Lewes 2, Reading 2.